What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Nucleus Hub. And I'm super excited because I got a very special guest today with me. She's going to be doing some amazing stuff at the Nucleus Nirvana Summer Sizzle and Sweat Experience. She's going to be teaching an amazing class that's going to wrap up the whole event. It's going to leave you guys mind blown. It's going to leave you guys relaxed. It's going to put you in a whole different state. And she's going to also be teaching an amazing workshop where we're going to dive much deeper into that information on what she's going to be giving you guys. But you're gonna walk away with tons of knowledge and information that you can utilize on yourself there and later. So let me help welcome the amazing Ren. How are you?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, it's I think it's something that we've been working our way up to, and we've been talking back and forth. We had a little convo before we started this, and I'm just very pleased to have the set coaches that we've set in place for this experience, and you being one of them, because at the end of the day, it's the people who are actually delivering the value and putting on this whole experience that are going to actually drive the impact. So I'm very grateful to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's dive into it. Let's talk up to me a little bit about your story, like who you are, introduce yourself to the people, and let them know what you do.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Ren Romero, and I started off my journey very early on. When I was 12 years old, I got diagnosed with prediabetes, so I was pre-diabetic, high cholesterol, overweight, obese, and really didn't know how to take charge of my health, but thankfully the internet was a source of information for me to start researching and getting into that. I started playing sports and played soccer, was obsessed on how to become a better soccer player, so that I got into weight training, mobility training, and such. Going on to adulthood, I wanted to continue helping people, so pre-med route, and then that's when my neurological system took a hit, and I needed to learn how to regulate my nervous system, and I did that through somatic exercises, sound healing, and continuing to move my body and work through my emotions with mental health as well.
So you went through a roller coaster of a journey there.
Absolutely.
Starting at a young age, and you had to face certain hurdles and really fight through that adversity to get to where you're at today. Not many people could do that. So I know in itself there's much deeper layers to that, but I guess the one takeaway from that is, you didn't give up. You went and did the research yourself. You found the knowledge, and now you turned it into a career. And I think that's such a great experience, because I always say some of the best coaches are the ones that had some of the worst experiences, because now they can go translate that into impact for other people and help them with similar things. For you, what would you say from that journey? What's the biggest lesson you learned for yourself?
The biggest lesson is to not give up and to always have faith that there is a solution. Everything is figure-outable, and even though there were times with having the psychogenic seizures that I didn't think I could live my life again, I believed that there was a way and I was going to figure it out, and I did. So now I would just want to help people with similar issues or similar mental illnesses. It stemmed from anxiety and depression, and I really learned how everything works together. Everything, your mind, body, spirit, and learning how to digest that information for my clients and help them with a process on how to overcome what they're currently going through, what their hurdles are through their unique journey. And it's very expansive, but I help break it down and keep it as specific for that individual as possible.
Love that. And what are some of the common issues that you see in the community nowadays, in the general population, the ones that need something like this? What are some of the common things that arise in today's world?
In today's world, just being overstimulated with technology, hustle culture, needing to always do, go. I need to be everything, do everything, and really being humbled that we're just human. There's only so much we can do. So being humbled time and again with my health, from my mobility, and realizing like I cannot do everything. I'm only human, and I need to take care of myself and be an advocate for my own health, body, mind, and spirit.
So what are some of the things that you do as far as when you work with your clients in a one-on-one setting or in a class setting? What are some of the things that you do to start getting that person to actually start transforming?
Yes, well, first I start off with a discovery call, seeing how people they tend to say everything that is going on, and just listening for those key points of what they struggle with, what are the day-to-day things that keep them from, instead of choosing the healthy food choice that helps them, gets them to choose the not so healthy food choice, or what keeps them from showing up at the gym or showing up for themselves, or even just having fun with mobility and their body and making life an enjoyable process, their health life process.
I love that. You know, and it's I feel personally, and you know, you can whether agree or disagree, but I personally feel like right now in the era that we're in, like you're saying, there's a lot of overstimulation. You know, you got that hustler's mentality. So there is a lot of things going on, and we can say that they've said mental health has risen. You know, and when I say mental health on the negative side, right? Because there can be good mental health components, but on the negative side, there's been a rise on it. So, you know, with that being said, at the same time, I do feel like there are more people who are aware, though, on being more active and trying to figure out solutions and trying to go out there and make a better life for themselves and try to, you know, be able to live a longer life by doing the right exercises, not just the traditional stuff that you're used to from back in the day, where, you know, it might not serve the way it serves now, you know. So, you know, for me personally, I just feel like there has been a shift, in one way, but yet at the same time, it's just also, you know, on the mindset side, I just see like an increase though, where it's like physically people are being paying more attention, and trying to go out there, be active. But then on the mindset side, it's like you do see a lot of a downfall. And the reason I bring that up is because I've always said that in fitness, it's not just physical. There's a huge mindset component, and I feel like that's something that still needs to improve in our community. If you would agree or disagree.
I absolutely agree. It's a blend, and it's through the coaching process you have that positive reinforcement of the blend. So let's say someone sits in a postural hold for a long time and they feel uncomfortable. You remind them you're so strong for being able to endure this and keep going. You've got this. And at the end, they're able, for example, creating an S curve with postural holds. It's hard. You're literally changing the form of your spine and supporting the muscles to change the form of your spine. And holding that position and being able to talk someone through, it's also a breakthrough for their mind of, I'm a different person because I feel different in my body, and I know I could accomplish any hurdle. So then that's where it goes in. If I could accomplish this hard thing, then in my body, then I could do it anywhere else in life. And just reminding them of that as well.
It's crazy what the mind can do when you start thinking a certain way, and when you're reminded of certain things, that you can do this and you got this. It's crazy what words and what you tell your mind or the reinforcement you get from outside can really do to the shift, the transformation of what you might be doing physically. You know, and with that, it's just, you know, I always say, you know, health and fitness is such a journey. It's a journey of exploration. It's a journey of experience. It's a journey of learning. It's a journey. It's a journey of hardship. It's a journey of success. It's a journey of downfalls. It's a journey of you know, just happiness. There's so many roller coaster ride moments in your fitness and health journey when you start realizing where you're at, what you're not good at, where you need to be, the challenges to get there. And that's all part of the mindset. And that can take a huge toll on some people who maybe aren't as strong as others. So how do you get people to go over some of these hurdles? Like, what are some of the things you do and tell them or work with them when you have to combat these mindset hurdles along the journey of you trying to get better with your health and fitness?
Yeah, it's understanding when to push and when to pull. So when do you push yourself harder to get stronger? When do you recover? Because there is no strengthening without the recovery process, or else you continue tearing yourself apart. And that could be a self-destructive process, even though you have the good intention to keep pushing and to be there for yourself and to keep pushing to the next level. There is also a necessity to slow down, to be present with yourself, appreciate your journey, realize how far you've come.
I like that. That's very
And
true.
yes, and working with the physical and also sensory aspect of it, with combining the fitness aspect and also the sound healing aspect, is there are days where we really push hard, and then there are days where we fully recover the mind, body, and spirit, and remind you that you are a whole being. It's not just your physical body, it's not just your mind, and really having that balance. And I think things are very simple. Balance is a simple concept, but it is difficult to achieve, especially when there is a constant go and desire to be better, which is beautiful. It's so beautiful that the people that are coached are such good people, such amazing people that just want to give and really bring their light into the world and love on people, help and serve. And I'm really grateful to even work with those people and to say, hey, you do so much. I appreciate you showing up. Now it's time for you to show up in a relaxation state, to lay back and just appreciate everything that you've accomplished.
There's a few things you said there. You said appreciation, which I think is huge. Sometimes we don't give enough appreciation. And I think the other thing too is like knowing when to press on the gas pedal and when to take your foot off of it. And, you know, I think the other thing that goes with it, it's interesting because you mentioned balance. And I have this, for me personally, the way I look at balance is I always say that balance is what you always strive for, but it's nothing that you are ever going to be in 100% all the time. It's impossible. There will be moments where you feel more balanced than other moments, but it's like a seesaw. There's always going to be like this, right? Sometimes it's going to be more this way, and then the goal is to try to figure out where you can kind of like, they're kind of like linger in the middle, like a little bit like this, where you find that person, you know, when like you're like bouncing with the two people on the seesaw and you're kind of doing this, and you're jumping up and down, but you kind of find that moment where you're like doing this. To me, that's where I feel like that's where you would get called your balance. But it's like at moments you'll find where it might go straight for a few seconds, but it doesn't stay there all the time. And I feel like the goal is never to try to stay there all the time. It's to figure out where you need to be in your life, close enough, but where you need to be your life in that moment where the seesaw might lean a little bit more one way than the other. And the reason I say this because when you're creating success or you're trying to do something, like, let's be honest, you know, if you're trying to do a business, you're not going to be balanced when you're starting a business. You got to put more time into the business. When you're trying to work on your health and fitness, you might have to take away time from partying and doing other things. So your balance is not always what you would call balance. It's always going to lean more on one side. Now now breaking out of a balance doesn't mean bad, because you might break out of a certain thing. You might look at balance to do a better good to then balance yourself out again for the long term. You know, and that's just kind of for me how I've always looked at balance, because you know, I feel like when we fight to like say we need to achieve balance and live in balance our whole life, I'm like, no, that's not the goal. It's not
realistic.
It's like, who is it? I think Kobe said it. He said, Kobe Bryant said something like, he's like, my goal is to chase perfection, knowing that perfection will never exist, and I'm okay with that, because I know I'm not going to be perfect, but I'm always going to work my way to chase it, knowing that I will never get there, and I'm okay with that, because at the end of the day, that's where you're going to live, you know. And it's just like it just reminds me a little bit about the balance aspect. It's like a lot of people would change that, yeah. So, you know, I think that something mindset is like when you can reset that and understand that, it just helps you understand and move differently and do things differently and go about life differently and be okay. Like, be okay with, hey, there's a time period in my life where this is want to be a little bit more, so the seesaw's going to lean a little bit more this way. But I have a goal in mind where I know I'm not going to stay there forever, because now if you stay there forever, that's where burnout, that's where this happens. So it's understanding that the goal is not to stay there forever, but at that moment in your time in your life, that's where you need to be. And it's okay. And then eventually you'll kind of find a middle point again. And there might be another moment where the seesaw might go the other way. And then it kind of, you know, goes back to that little teetering.
Yeah, and it's a constant balancing act. And I really appreciate you sharing that Kobe Bryant quote. That's huge. And really, it's we are constantly battling, and well, sometimes life truly feels like a battlefield, but how can you battle through it gracefully? And that's through having self-awareness.
Yeah.
Is knowing your own strengths and your own limitations. And with knowing that, and also helping my clients become more aware of their own strengths and limitations, that's how you know where to take the next step. I need to get stronger here. Oh, I need to take a step back here, because that is what's going to be the best next step to creating that balance.
That's powerful. No, and I think at the end of the day, it's everything falls back to intentionality. When you and I'm gonna tie this with being appreciative, because I love that you brought that up. So I think when you're intentional and you appreciate, there's a lot of success there for your life. Number one, because when you can appreciate what you're going through, knowing that it's going to make you better, when you can appreciate what you have, when you can appreciate what you're doing, when you can appreciate the people around you, when you can appreciate your situation that you were presented at that moment, whether the moment was to learn something, doesn't have to be necessarily like something that doesn't go your way doesn't have to be bad. It could be just a learning experience. Be appreciative for it. Like sometimes I tell myself all the time, I'm like, damn, I'm like, God, thank you for putting me in that moment where I thought it was a bad thing. I might have been upset at the moment, but man, I'm so appreciative that you put me in there, because you know what? You avoided me from going into a worse moment. So thank you. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves from things that happened before to take a step and like, I gotta be appreciative for that moment. And then intentionality is just the fact that when we're in those moments, just be intentional with it. Like be focused, be in it, like learn from it, grow from it, but actually like be in there, be in that moment. Don't just like, oh, okay, cool, I know I'm here, and oh, there's this going on over there. No, like be present. Like nothing else is distracting you. And obviously that's a whole different way. Everybody operates differently when it comes to distraction, but the key thing is that when you can be as intentional as possible, I think that's where you get rewarded the most. And it's I've always tied in the intentional component with the appreciative aspect, and that's where I've seen a lot of growth overall, and just trying to turn what you see as a failure or as a setback into like something positive or successful. It's really interesting mindset wise when you can start making that pivot and change.
Yes, and it's so beautiful, it's simple, and it's something that we constantly need to be reminded of, because just as a survival mechanism, our mind easily goes to the negatives and the complaints, and it's so easy to fall into that track. But then when we take a step back and see, well, what could I be grateful for, or what lesson could I've learned from this hardship? Like if I would have never gone through everything that I went through, I wouldn't be able to help myself and other people and provide value in the ways that I learned how, simply through experience and the desire and drive to continue to help and be better.
And that's why we're happy to have you here, because I know what you're going to drive as far as the value you're going to deliver at this experience is going to be remarkable from your own experiences, from what you're doing now, from what you've grown and learned, and just the way that you're healing people. At the end of the day, that's who you are. You're a healer. You're healing. And through your practices, you're showing people how to not only heal in the moment, but how they can take those practices and continue to heal themselves, throughout their day-to-day life. And I always say that, as coaches, it's funny because it's like, if you're working with people one-on-one, you're like, oh, they see me 3-4 times a week. You're like, that's a lot. But then you really think back, you're like, they actually spend more time on their own, though. So actually, where's the benefit coming from? The benefit comes from what are they doing the days that they're not with you? Because they're spending more days without you than they are with you, even if they see you 3-4 times a week. So what are the tools you leave off with somebody? What are the practices you leave off for them to do on their own? Because what they do on their own actually drives more result.
Yes.
And it's like that's for me what has always hit. Like, I gotta best prepare my client, and that's something from what I'm hearing, how intentional you are with your work, that you just prepare your clients and everybody for success as they continue on through their journey, which is going to go into my next question is, what can people expect? What can people expect from what you're going to be doing, your workshop, your class? What are the expectations for that? What are they going to learn from it? And then what are they going to take away?
Yeah, so the expectation starting off with a sound bath would just to be in a state of relaxation, of bliss, and really taking a step back and experiencing for yourself being more than just a human body. You're more than that. And even I love it when people at the end say, I feel like I left my body. I forgot about being on earth for a moment. I wasn't here, and I love hearing that. That's one of my favorite things to hear, because that is the goal. I want you to remember that it's more, you are more than just the person in this body. I mean, if you zoom out and look at the top of the mountain and you see all the trees and see all the ecosystems and see how everything functions together, once you go back in, or at least for me, when I come back down from a hike, I'm like, wow, there's so much more than me, and I get to be a part of it. I get to be that small little part that contributes to a greater picture, and you could call that God's picture, and or cloth, a piece of the fabric, but either way, it's recognizing like you are so much more, and really valuing yourself for all the more that you already are. And also with the workshop on when I'll speak about nutrition and habits, it's really about self-awareness and realizing you are different. There's no one size fits all. Everyone is different. So we're going to look into what specifically for you gives you energy, what takes away energy, so you could be the best you and focus on being an energy, self-generating, energy-giving being. So I really believe everything's energy, we're energy, and really teaching you on what generates your specific machine body. Not saying we are machines, but if you think of it as a machine, it's like what generates your energy, what gets you going, what gets you to wake up in the morning, what if you wake up and eat a bagel, is that gonna help you with the presentation later on? Or versus if you eat some granola and some fruits with some fats, whatever it may be. I know some people are lactose intolerant, but for me personally, I'm not. So I like making myself a little parfait, adding some chia seeds, and just how can I make this as much as nutritious as possible to get my brain going and really hit it off there. And there are also times where the best way to hit it off is to not eat, and to know when to fast and be intuitive with your body and have that self-awareness for what specifically for you, knowing your body's intuition and having trust that you are an intelligent being. Your body is an intelligent body. How can you sit and listen to what it has to tell you and then act on it?
Amazing. It's you saw all that value that you guys are going to get at this experience. What is Ren looking forward to the most? What are you looking forward to? What do you want to get out of this, and what do you hope that you walk away with after this event?
Wow. That's such a huge question, because typically, I'm not going to lie, I typically just go into things, I'm like, I don't really have expectations. I'm just looking to see what I experience. And then in the moment, I see, wow, or reflecting, like, wow, I really met this person and they were able to give me some value or some feedback that really attributes to my knowledge, or I didn't know you could do things this way or that way, or even collaborating with other people and saying, how can we better help each other? How can we all come together and really continue to, I don't mean to get all woo-woo, but how can we elevate the vibration of everyone in this room? And I'm really excited to see how that comes into play. What do I learn from other people? What are other people going to learn from me? How is that give and take relationship from just being in a room full of like-minded individuals that are wanting to grow? Where are we going to meet each other in that moment to see where things go next in our journey?
I'll tell you this, we're very excited, and I can tell you're excited, which makes me even more excited. And I just can't wait for people to experience what you have to offer, and for people to connect with you, which goes into plug away. Where can people find with you? Where can people find you? Where can they connect? Where can they message you? Shoot.
Awesome. So I am on Instagram. I'm on ren_wellness_. And that's honestly the best place to reach me. From there, I'll probably give you my number we hit it off.
You guys heard. Want the number? I'm just playing. You got to hit it off. I'm just playing. Once again, thank you so much. I'm excited. Guys, you don't want to miss this out. It's going to be an amazing experience, full of classes, full of workshops, recovery lounge. We're going to have amazing sponsors. We got TRX, we got Puma, we got Vibram, we got Mush, we got Smart Water, Topo Chico, we have Truvani, LMNT, we have one of our proud sponsors from my other business partners company, Global Pro, and just the amazing coaches. So we're really trying to do something here that's fulfilling, impactful, and leave you guys with something memorable to walk away with after this summer. So July 20th, hope to see you there. And till next time, the Nucleus Hub.